The Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins both need injections of talent on their offenses, and I have two perfect prospect pairings for them.
You are Locked On NFL Draft, your daily podcast covering the NFL Draft. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Locked On NFL Draft Podcast, your daily podcast covering your favorite draft prospects, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm your boy, Damian Parson. I'm an NFL draft analyst with Bleacher Report. And as always, thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout out for being our everydayers. Guys, we have a fun one. It's perfect prospect pairings, NFL draft storylines, the biggest NFL draft storyline, which is this running back class is not what we thought it was going to be, and then coach them up, taking those prospects for the 2026 NFL draft, giving them to a head coach and say, this is your job, get him where he needs to be, and we will reap the benefits. But before we get into all of that, Crossover Thursday is presented by PrizePicks. Download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Perfect prospect pairing. The Buffalo Bills offense is led by one of the best quarterbacks in the league, Josh Allen. Big, athletic, big arm, one of the best arms in the league. And a guy has completely changed his passing mechanics since he entered the league and left Wyoming. Right. But the one thing outside of the like Stephon Diggs is no longer there. He's in New England. They don't have a guy, in my opinion. I think they have a good compilation and combination of pieces and talent, from Khalil Shakir to Keon Coleman to Dalton Kincaid, James Cook in the backfield, who they paid. But they don't have that field stretcher. And Keon Coleman, to me, if they use Keon Coleman as that kind of Brandon Marshall, like that hybrid possession, power slot, outside receiver, slants, in breakers, mesh concept with the crossers, things of that nature, hard play action with him working the deep over routes, all like different things of that nature, right? Even the comeback route. I think that's what best suits him, and that'll really unlock his game, in my opinion. And just let him be physical, he's like 6'4", 215. Well, I'm going to add another 6'5". I'm going to add a 6'5" guy, right? Because they don't have the speed on the outside as you would want, right? They got Josh Palmer, who I liked, while he was, in the chart with the Chargers, things of that nature. Let's go to Tennessee. Give me Chris Brazzell. 6'5", 200, and I think 6'5", 200 pounds even. On the season this year, 38 receptions, 591 yards receiving, 7 receiving touchdowns, average over 15 and a half yards per attempt. This is one of the more explosive receivers. His average depth of target, his ADOT, is 13.5 yards. His yards per route run, 2.58. Okay. Longest reception of the season, 72 yards. So he wins the contested catches. But it's the speed. You go back to his coming out party was the Georgia game, right? It was the Georgia game. 6 for 6, 177 yards receiving, and 3 receiving touchdowns against Georgia. This young man can stretch the field. He can make plays at the catch point. And I think when you factor in that just what they have, I think he steps in. And I said they don't have a guy, but for me, it's like, okay, if you don't have a guy, at least let's like the complementary pieces, or the pieces that in the receiver and the tight end and everything, they all complement each other perfectly, or as close to perfectly as possible, right? So what helps the run game? Being able to throw the ball over the defense's head down the field, keep him in too high, right? Those things matter. Those things help. And I just think that a Chris Brazzell, with the arm strength and talent and passing ability of a Josh Allen, the scramble drills, this is not a guy you want to lose sight of when Josh Allen starts to scramble in terms of Chris Brazzell, because he's a big target that works the vertical plane very well. But not only that, he has the body control. He has the ability to high point. He goes up and climbs the ladder, right? But he does run good routes too for a 6'5", 200-pound leggy receiver. You get speed releases. You get the one-step jab, release to the inside or outside. He knows how to attack leverage in the contact window, uses his hand to club and not allow the DB to get their hands into his rib cage so they can feel his movements, right? Because a lot of times that's what DBs do, guys. They do that. They get their hand in that rib cage where they can kind of feel whenever your muscles are going to contract and tighten up because he's about to change directions, things like that. It's just feeling out the receiver, feeling out your opponent and knowing when he's going to make a move. So if he's he goes inside, he sells the vertical. You got that hand on the hip or the inside, that side on the rib cage, and you can feel when he's getting ready to shift and drop his weight. Now you could drop your weight with him. It's just nuance, savvy nuance. But clubbing the hand as a receiver, not allowing him to get his hands on you, that's the savvy nuance as well. And I think for me, man, putting him in this offense with Josh Allen would make a ton of sense. But guys, I'm not just talking about the Bills. I said the Dolphins in the intro, in the cold open, the Dolphins as well. And for me, the perfect prospect pairing, let's go to Oregon. Dante Moore, the quarterback. I think for me, I was a big Tua Tagovailoa guy coming out. But there's a lot that's happened over the past couple years from the concussions and the injuries. I am to listening to him in press conferences, throwing players his teammates under the bus, not showing leadership. There's a lot that's going on right now. And for me, I say let's go ahead and change. Let's make a change, right? And I believe that they owe him a lot of money. I'm pretty sure they owe him a lot of money next year. That said, I know and we know teams have ate the dead cap time and time again. Like, they have to reset. And yes, Tua is one of the best like quarterbacks, accuracy, ball placement, all of that, timing, rhythm. He's all of that, man. All of it. Love his game. Tua, like, I think next year, if they were to do a pre-June 1 cut in 2026, the dead cap would be like 99 mil or something like that. That sucks, doesn't it? A lot. So yeah, he's gonna be on the roster, you know what I mean, for next year. Maybe you let him start. Who knows? But nonetheless, to me, you need to plan ahead and plan for the future. And if Dante Moore is in this class right now, Dolphins have the second overall pick in this class. The New York Jets, who are also in their division, have the first overall pick. So these are two teams who could be vying for the number one pick spot to gain and draft their new quarterback. Yes, the Dolphins have other needs, right? The Dolphins could go guard, linebacker, corner. They got defensive issues as well. But to me, making the concerted effort to get a new quarterback in there. Dante Moore is accurate. He's mobile. He's 6'3". I think 200 pounds even. 6'3", 205, right? Really good passer. And he's still yet a young, developing quarterback. But the leadership, the ability to stay calm, cool, and collected, the ability to, when he needs to speak up and galvanize his guys, he can do that. I just believe that with Tua, I don't believe Mike McDaniels is coming back either. That's the problem. So you bring in a new head coach, potentially a new GM, a new offensive coordinator. That usually spells the end of an era and the end and the closing of a chapter. So again, when you ask me, DP, what should the Dolphins do? They should be eyeing this quarterback class and hoping that Dante Moore does declare and comes into this class. Because if he does, he'd be the perfect guy to step in and give you everything from a locker room fit, from a leadership fit, but also just from a high upside and a guy that can play the game from the neck up and be intelligent, anticipate throws, throw with accuracy, all of those things. So that's the perfect pairings. Chris Brazzell, the 6'5" speedy receiver from Tennessee to the Buffalo Bills, and Dante Moore, the quarterback from Oregon, going to the Miami Dolphins. Coming up next, we got to talk about this underwhelming running back class and why there's only one running back worthy of a first-round pick. Today's episode is brought to you by PrizePicks. Every day we make decisions, but on PrizePicks, being right can actually get you paid. Don't miss the excitement of this football season with PrizePicks, where it's good to be right. Playing PrizePicks is such a fun, simple way to add more excitement to football. You can just pick more or less on player projections, like Lamar Jackson's passing yards coming off of his injury, or Ashton Genty rushing for a touchdown, and you're in the game. For me, I love how quick it is. You can make, same way I can, you can make your lineup in under a minute, guys. I mean, in less than 60 seconds. So download the PrizePicks app today and use the code LOCKEDONNFL to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code LOCKEDONNFL for $50 in lineups after your first $5 lineup. PrizePicks is good to be right. The NFL season is back and in full swing, and honestly, there's nothing better than being in the stadium surrounded by fans cheering on your team. But let's be honest, getting tickets can be a hassle. Between queues, login screens, and prices jumping at checkout, it's frustrating. And that's why I use Gametime, the app that gives the advantage back to the fans. Gametime is fast, easy, and backed by the Gametime guarantee. You'll always get 100% authentic tickets delivered on time and at the best price. Plus, all fees are included. So the price you see is the price you pay. I pulled up Gametime, and in a couple of taps, I saw amazing deals. I'm talking about your favorite NFL games for as low as $100. Don't miss out on this. Download the Gametime app, create an account, and use the code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, that's promo code LOCKEDONNFL for $20 off. Swipe, tap, ticket, go. Download Gametime today. The running back class for the 2026 NFL draft is so much off track, and it's not what we thought it was going to be. Is there talent in this class? Of course. There's talent. There's talent. But it's not what we expected. This class is underwhelming right now. It is absolutely underwhelming. Right now, there's only one man that deserves a first-round grade and has that first-round grade and potentially is a top 15, might be a top 10 pick, and that's Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame. He is he is head and shoulders above the rest of this class. It is Jeremiah Love, and then tick, 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 all the way down. Now you got the next running back, whoever that might be. And, and again, there's talent here from Jonah Coleman at Washington. Katron Allen as a big body running back, downhill guy. Jadarian Price might be, if he decides to declare, right? I think he goes back. But if he were to declare, he would have a strong chance to really make that longer. At he's listed at 5'11", 210, speed, explosiveness, contact balance, all those things. Yeah, Notre Dame might have the top 2 running backs in the draft if they both declared, man. Like, that's how crazy this class is right now, right? Nick Singleton has been completely underwhelming. Guys, when I say completely underwhelming, I mean it with everything I mean. Like, it's just not working out. Let me look at his numbers here, see if I can give you some of the stats this season. 76 attempts, 274 yards, 3.6 yards per attempt, 6 rushing touchdowns, 17 targets, 13 receptions, 95 yards. He's played 7 games. To play 7 games and not crack 300 yards rushing, there's so much wrong right now. And I still think he could be a legitimate talent in the NFL, a starting running back and everything. My comp was David Johnson, right? Used to be with the Arizona Cardinals, okay? But, yeah, it's not. It doesn't look good. I do like Damon Claiborne. Claiborne, I like him a lot, right? I like Justice Haynes. You got Terrion Stewart over at Virginia Tech. Hollywood Smothers, I think he goes back to North Carolina State. You got Quintravion Wisner, absolute disappointment this year. Le'Veon Moss, who is my RB2 right now, but he is sidelined with an injury. We don't know how long he'll be out. Darius Taylor had a big game last week against Nebraska. He just came back after missing 3 or 4 games due to injury. Then you got Mark Fletcher, Desmond Reed, but I don't know how teams are going to feel about Desmond Reed because he's a very undersized running back, right? You got Jamal Haynes, who's another undersized running back at 5'9", 190. Maybe he comes to like RJ Harvey a little bit, but Desmond Reed is listed at 5'8", 175. That's like Donnell Pumphrey. Is that Pumphrey or Humphrey? I'm gonna make sure I said that right. I think it was like Pumphrey, who was drafted. Yeah, Donnell Pumphrey, drafted years ago. He has been with the Eagles, and everything. And yeah, he like I think the UFL or whatnot. He came out of San Diego State. I think he was running the same thing. 5'8", about 175, 180. Like, yeah, this running back class, it has some versatility to it. But at the end of the day, how many RB1s? Like, I think Darius Taylor, Mark Fletcher, I think those guys can make some really good impressions on this class, especially if they continue to play well. Like, Mark Fletcher's been good, 6'2", 200 plus pound running back. He's got 447 yards rushing this season, 6 rushing touchdowns. I think they need to lean on him even more. But again, like I said, with Darius Taylor, 6'2", 215, he's got 353 yards rushing. Only played 5 games. He's missed about 2 to 3 games. I think 3 games with an injury. So if he gets on he's a heater, and now he's heating up, and he's got a hot streak down the stretch. Yeah, I could see him, entering the draft and being a top of the second round pick. Like, he's got vision, patience, footwork, but also run physicality as well. This class reminds me of. Let me pull it up here. This class reminds me of the 2024 class. If I remember, I think that's the last subpar draft class we had. 2025 was really good, and there was a lot of talent. But me and Keith talked about there was a lot of guys that entered the 2025 draft that had no business. You went 5th, 6th, 7th round, right? Damian Martinez out of Miami. First of all, he should have been drafted way higher than he was. Okay, I think him, Ollie Gordon, a couple of those guys, man. Like, yes, 2024, right? 24. You had Audric Estime, Trey Benson, Braylon Allen, Jonathan Brooks, Ray Davis, Blake Corum, Blake Corum are 2 good contributors. Tyrone Tracy, who you guys know on my everydays, I love me some Tyrone Tracy. Tyrone Tracy was my guy. But yeah, I mean, think about some of these names. Jalen Wright, who's done nothing. Will Shipley. Kamani Vidal is getting that chance now with the Chargers. Jahar Jordan from Louisville, Rasheen Ali, Dejun Edwards, Blake Watson, Imani Bailey, Isaiah Davis, Dylan Laub, Carson Steele. It was not a good class. Like, the best guy out of that class, honestly, right now is Bucky Irvin. That's a fact. Bucky is the dude. He's the star out of that class, right? Hoping that he comes back healthy soon. But Ray Davis is a contributor. Jonathan Brooks has torn his ACL again since entering the league. So yeah, like that was not a good class. It was not a good class at all, right? And everything. So I think this class shapes up to be that class. If you don't have a Jeremiah Love, you're gonna the highest graded running back would have been a second rounder, mid-second rounder, more than likely, right? So at the end of the day, teams that need running backs, I'm gonna tell you what this is gonna do. This is going to be a very good free agency situation in the NFL. What I mean by that is, if you're an NFL running back about to hit free agency, you're going to want to hit free agency because the running back class right now doesn't warrant teams saying, I won't pay you. What it's going to say is teams are going to be like, hey, how much do you need? How much are you looking for? How do we get this to work out? Let's get you locked into a contract. Because if you're not drafting, and I'm telling you now, like, Jeremiah Love's going first round, right? We just watched Ashton Jeanty, who, I will tell you this, I actually have, I think, a higher grade on Jeremiah Love than Ashton Jeanty and Amarian Hampton from last year. That's how high I am on Jeremiah Love, right? I had first round grades on both Hampton and Jeanty last year. Jeanty was my highest rated guy. So I look at that after Jeremiah Love, yeah, if I'm a healthy veteran back that's not too old, not too much wear and tear, yeah, I'm hitting free agency because this class isn't good enough to keep me from getting a contract. That's just my honest opinion, guys. I don't believe this class is good enough to keep the veteran running backs, the good veteran running backs, from cashing in and getting a 2-year deal and going from there and be able to set themselves up the way that they need to. But guys, coming up next, it's Coach 'em Up. And I got to talk about a young man who I've talked about a lot on this show, quarterback Trinidad Chambliss, and why NFL coaches must buy in, because this is a high upside prospect. Mazda crafts cars for those who simply do more than just move. Mazda delivers confidence with every single ride, with more IIHS top safety pick awards than anyone else as of August 2025. From footwork to breathwork, athletes sweat all the details. And Mazda brings this same intention to how we craft every single model. You can feel Japanese craftsmanship in every detail, from the metallic accents to the available Napa leather upholstery. You can make everyday rides and drives feel like anything you'd like, but from smooth handling to intuitive controls, with all-wheel drive standard in every single crossover SUV, you can drive with confidence through almost any season. So, like our players, we sweat every detail, because when you make every move count, impossible becomes irrelevant. Mazda, move and be moved. Thank you for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and everyday shot for being our everydayers. It's time to coach them up.
We're not hating, we're helping. Coach 'em up.
Trinidad Chambliss, the quarterback, the Ole Miss Rebels, 6 foot, 200 pounds, built similar to Russell Wilson. And please remember, he didn't start until week 3, okay, against Arkansas. So he didn't start the season. He's got 3 300-yard passing games, 2 250-plus yard pass games, as well as 1 100-yard rushing game on the season. And for me, I think coaching up a Trinidad Chambliss, you get a guy that has the ability to play fearless. He's got good contact balance. He's really twitchy and agile as a runner as well. But then you also get a guy that can throw the ball. And he's not someone that doesn't take the check downs. He'll check it down. He'll go through his reads and his progressions. He's not going to bail clean pockets 24/7 like a Russell Wilson would do. But he is a guy that has good upside. I like what Trinidad Chambliss brings to the table. And I even think, like, just thinking about teams that could benefit from adding him, and teams I think that should look to add him, right? For me, I look at the Carolina Panthers, and the reason why I say that, Bryce Young is solid, right? But let's have a real conversation about it. Bryce Young is truthfully a game manager right now. And it's no disrespect to Bryce. That's just what he is. He's probably a high-end, solid, middle-of-the-pack game manager. He gets the ball out quick. He can anticipate. He plays, but physically he's limited. He plays on schedule, ahead of time, things of that nature. I like his anticipation. I like his accuracy and ball placement. He's always struggled throwing the ball down the field. Targeting the intermediate past 10 yards has been a struggle for him in his career as well. The lack of physical ability limits the upside. So, and that's always very tricky for me because, guys, the same way we always say, well, you can't expect Anthony Richardson, Malik Willis, or this toolsy raw quarterback, Trey Lance, to be Lamar Jackson, to be Josh Allen. I can't expect the guy who plays predominantly from the neck up to develop mentally into Drew Brees, into Peyton Manning, into Steve Young and Joe Montana and Tom Brady. I can't expect that. It's not fair. So the same way we can't say, hey, Lenoris is going to be the next Josh Allen, I can't say Bryce is going to be the next Drew Brees. And that was one of the comps. It was Drew Brees and Russell Wilson. Guess what? There's two stylistic comps that hasn't worked out yet. And it has been the Josh Allen type of comp, the Josh Allen, the Cam Newton, Lamar Jackson comp. And it's the Drew Brees, Russell Wilson, that comp for the smaller quarterbacks and everything. It doesn't work out typically, right? So, yeah, like, I think Carolina getting, and let me put some context to what I mean by drafting a Trinidad Chambliss. The Carolina Panthers right now, per Tankathon, because they've won 3 straight, played some really bad teams, but they won 3 straight. They are 16th. 16th right now. They will, if the draft for the day, they will be picking not top 15. You got to feel good about that. Clap that up from the Carolina Panthers. But what does that mean? You'll be picking top 20 still. So you get the best player available, improve your roster some more, whether that's on the offense. To me, you put a lot of resources on the offense, and that's why I'm perfectly fine, and I believe addressing the quarterback position and bringing in a young, toolsy, athletic, gifted player to put pressure on Bryce makes more sense than an Andy Dalton. Because here's why. You've drafted Xavier Legette, round 1. Tet McMillan, round 1. You paid over $100 million to get 2 guards. You've done everything you needed to do. You drafted Mitchell Evans, who looks like the tight end 1. You invested in the defensive line, so now he doesn't have to go on scoring, go into games having to outscore teams time and time again. Right? You went and got Rico Dowdle. You're running the ball. You're being physical. And Bryce Young doesn't have to do much for you to win games, honestly. But you can't do that against great teams. You're going to lose those games. And for me, I think being able to bring somebody in with a higher upside, day 2, I'm talking 3rd round, Trinidad Chambliss to the Carolina Panthers makes a lot of sense to me because he gives you that ability to raise the floor as a runner. Bryce he has enough athleticism. He's quick twitching. He's agile. He doesn't have the athleticism and the rushing ability of a Trinidad Chambliss. So that's how I look at that. For me, the other team, I think it's the Los Angeles Rams. I think it's the Rams. The Rams have the 23rd pick in the draft right now. That's their own pick, right? The Rams also have the 14th pick because that's the pick from the Atlanta Falcons. Again, I'm not saying draft Trinidad round 1 unless he goes on this historic run and gets Ole Miss to the CFP, make a run through the CFP, and we're talking we're talking about national championship run, and he's throwing the ball well, doing all this. Cool. I'm all for it, okay? But that's not what I'm saying. Still, 3rd round, maybe 4th round. If I'm the Rams, I just keep building this team up. Address your defense, maybe address the offensive line. And on day 2, 3rd round, you get a Trinidad Chambliss, who I think you put that type of skill set. Man, Sean McVay, who's one of the best play callers in the NFL, has never had a running quarterback like this. He's never had a guy with this skill set. He's had the Jared Goffs. He's had, Matthew Stafford, right? Great throwers of the football, great passers. Matthew Stafford, Hall of Famer in my book. Book it. I'm thinking first ballot, Hall of Famer. Very underrated, one of the best quarterbacks of all time, in my opinion. I love Matthew Stafford. Now, for me, Jared Goff, good quarterback, high end. That he's a high end game manager to me, but like he'll win games for you, literally win games for you. But for me, he's not like Sean McVay's never had this type of skill set at quarterback, and I think Trinidad Chambliss with 100%. Like being able to sit behind Matthew Stafford for a year, learn, be a pro. If you have not heard, please go check out, Cam Newton's podcast. I think it's like 4th and 1. Listen to or go on YouTube, whatever. Please go check it out. He did a breakdown talking about quarterbacks, and it was off of what Drew Brees said on ESPN about how it takes about 50 starts to really be able to evaluate a quarterback. And we're sitting here, mind you, guys, we are sitting here, and the NFL doesn't allow these young men to develop after 2 years, okay? After 2 years, we don't even get a chance for these young men to develop. So all I'm saying, please go check that out. It's such a great listen. So much insight, so much realness with it. Please go check it out, please. But the point is, for me, I look at Trinidad Chambliss. I say you get to sit and learn, because that's what they were talking about. Bringing in the quarterback, having a veteran in the room, letting them sit, learn, and develop. Boom. Let that happen. And now you get Sean McVay gets to dial up some RPO, read option, QB counters, QB keepers with a guy like a Trinidad Chambliss. No, you're not going to run him 50 times a game. You're not going to run him like Cam Newton and stuff like that. But he can do some things. Especially, he's the type of quarterback that's going to make you play 11 on 11 in the red zone. So at the end of the day, I'm just saying Trinidad Chambliss, coach him up. 2 teams that I believe if he lands there, gets a year to sit, develop, learn, work the offense, be a pro, learn how to be a pro, he could be a long-term starter in the NFL. But guys, that's the show. We talked about coach him up, Trinidad Chambliss, NFL draft storylines, the running back class is underwhelming, and perfect prospect pairings, putting two prospects in the AFC East. Chris Brazzell, wide receiver, 6'5", 200 pounds, from the Tennessee Volunteers to the Buffalo Bills. Dante Moore, quarterback for Oregon, to the Miami Dolphins to replace Tua Tagovailoa for the foreseeable future and be the face of this franchise. Go subscribe and follow for free on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts to get the latest episode as soon as it is available. Thank you so much for making Locked On NFL Draft your first listen today and every day. Shout for being our everydays. On tomorrow's show, you know what we're doing. I'm talking about those offensive statement makers, defensive statement makers, and those sleeper prospects that you need to know about heading into week 9 of college football. So come and join the conversation again tomorrow on the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.